Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
Hey everybody, Meteorologist Tuttle back with you again. It's been another brief minute, but I am back because we finally have some weather to talk about, so I'm excited about that for you and for me as well. Listen, when it's 100 degrees almost every day, it gets old for me, in the 90s as well. But the good news is we've got some big changes coming, so I'm excited about that. So welcome. All right, let's see what is going on. Apparently I got a stream that's misbehaving. Doesn't surprise me. So we'll continue though and just kind of go on with it. By the way, if you guys are on Facebook, just posted this link to get a direct notification from me when I do go live. That way you will know and you won't miss an update because sometimes it doesn't always tell you. The algorithm's a little finicky these days. On YouTube, thanks for checking in. I see you, Scorpion, and Kayla, thanks for being in the house today. Also, you guys out there on Twitter, appreciate you checking in as well. All right, so let's get on with the show, shall we? All right, make sure everything here is good on my end. Okay, YouTube's good, Twitter's good, Facebook good. So that means Rumble's having a Rumble issue. It's not the first time they've had a Rumble issue. It's okay. All right. Hey, outside right now, we've got a lot of sunshine. You wouldn't know a cold front was coming, and you wouldn't know a change was coming. I've got 91.6 degrees here in my backyard on my Tempest weather station with a west-southwest wind. So unfortunately, not exactly a wonderful, fall-like day out there. The drought, of course, has rebuilt over the last few weeks, so we really haven't had any decent rainfall. So we are eventually going to get more rain. It's just not going to be in the short term. Winds out there are from the southwest here, gusting up to around 20 to 25 miles per hour out here in western Oklahoma. A little bit lighter on the wind field out across the east, and those southwest winds will help to warm things up. Temperatures are already in the mid-90s here in northern Oklahoma and from eastern Oklahoma down to southern Oklahoma. So there's pockets there. You got some low 90s where you have better vegetation. You had some better rainfall. And then, of course, you've got the drier vegetation, less of it, and we didn't get as much rain. Those temperatures are a little bit higher by about 2 or 3 degrees. Okay, so like we mentioned, a cold front is coming. Let's look at the wind field here in the short-term model data. And I want to show you this big purple. You see that? That's a line of wind from the north. All right, so it's moving into northern and northwest Oklahoma Wednesday night. Then it moves in to the 7 a.m. hour, 6 to 7, across the I-40 corridor. So that's good news. That means on Thursday morning, you'll start to feel that gentle, cool breeze. Now, I say gentle because technically it won't be gentle. That's 15 knots. So we're going to have winds probably gusting up to around 20 to 25 miles per hour behind that front, at least to the initial onset of it. They may die off at times throughout the day. But needless to say, we're going to have a north wind here across the majority of Oklahoma by Thursday afternoon. So that'll set the stage to bring in some cooler weather. So if I were to kind of draw a boundary line for you, it looks kind of like this as we head into the 1 p.m. hour. So you can see how most of the body of Oklahoma has got a north-northeast wind back behind it. All right, so let me go forward through time, and we'll show you how those winds in southern and southeast Oklahoma kind of go light and variable through Thursday afternoon, and then by Thursday night, they pick back up with a secondary push of the cooler air. It kind of falls apart there in southeast Oklahoma. So you guys don't really get all the effects that the rest of us will get, unfortunately, but sometimes that's the way it happens. But we got more fronts to come. So temperatures today, near record high heat out there this afternoon. I know it's gross. So the high resolution NAM model here for the afternoon temperatures at 3 and 4 o'clock push us into the upper 90s to around 100 degrees across many areas here in central, northern, northeastern Oklahoma. And then we see that big color change. All right, so here we go into tonight, into tomorrow morning. See those temperatures drop to the 60s. So we'll be at around 69 degrees here in Oklahoma City, dropping by a couple of degrees as that front moves through. Still into the sticky, muggy 70s and in southeast Oklahoma, of course. Unfortunately, we talked about that because of the wind field. And then meanwhile, for Thursday afternoon, we are going to rebound. But the question is, we rebound into the 80s or we hold in the upper 70s here in the Oklahoma City metro area. So the models have trended a little cooler each day. So I'll take the upper 70s. Should be a great day here, regardless, here in central and northern Oklahoma. 60s up there. My goodness, that's a little bit of a bite, right? But like we mentioned, down in southern and southeastern Oklahoma, let me back this up a little bit. We're looking at the 90s, mid-90s down here along the Red River. So again, sorry you guys can't bring you the cool weather, but at least the rest of the state does. Then it eventually kind of sags in a little bit overnight. Look at these temperatures Friday morning. We're in the 50s, and some of these are low 50s. If I go back here, 6 o'clock in the morning, right around the Woodward area, I think I saw 49 degrees. I sure did. So look at that. So nice cooler weather coming into the state here briefly. I'll say briefly because look what happens on Friday. Not as nice. This will be still kind of a dry heat, but it will warm up quickly. So back into the low 90s we go, and that sets the stage for the weekend. So temperatures over the weekend will be into the mid 90s, and then as we head into the next several days after that, another front comes in for Saturday night and a Sunday. That will bring us a little bit of rain across state, very little. Don't get too excited. And then that sets the stage for some 80s for next week. And we'll eventually get some more rain here. And there was some indications in earlier data that a little bit of rain may recur for next week. And we'll take a look at that later. Meanwhile, the tropics are heating up. You saw my hurricane post. I want to show you Fiona over here, just after they blasted Puerto Rico, has continued to move on up to the north as a pretty stout hurricane. But this little batch of activity, let me see here. Where's my little circle? This guy here. This little area of interest is what we're watching for the next developing storm to become a hurricane. It'll be Hermine. It's Invest 98L, and this guy, once it gets going, would in theory head something like this to maybe this. So let's take a look at how the data looks, and then we'll turn you loose for the rest of your day. Now, temperatures out here in this area, unfortunately, on the water temperature side, are very warm. So they're in the upper 20s, 29 to 30 degrees for sea surface temperatures. So in other words, plenty of heat, fuel for the development of a tropical storm. So the question is, of course, where does it go? We'll look at this one long-range global model. This is the American model. We'll just see what it has to say, only to kind of show you the big picture. So keep your eye on, let's see, this guy down here. This is our developing storm here, and then watch as it travels from here through the Caribbean, up to around the Yucatan, and then maybe even back into, say, Florida. Let's take a look here. So this is on into Saturday and Sunday. So there's our guy here, starting to get a little bit better organized. See all the little brighter colors becoming more concentrated. Starting to get some circle appendages there around it, little lines. So that just means it's strengthening. It's getting more compact. And it starts to make its way up toward the Cancun region by Tuesday afternoon. Now, this particular model has it hitting that as a pretty decent hurricane, and then back into the Gulf of Mexico, and then moving back north, and it starts to curve back to the east into the western Florida panhandle. So that's just one output. Now, remember, there's a lot of models and a lot of data to look at. The only hurricane model that we have even goes out nearly that far. I mean, as far as it'll go. Kind of shows you the track moving through the Caribbean, then it stops. In other words, we're way too early to get very specific on the exact track, definitely, and the strength. But this kind of gives you an idea. Plus, this follows historical climatology. So this kind of jives so far with the pattern of the American model. Now, if we look at other models, the spread as to which tracks they may take, one has the one way over here to the east. That's an outlier. We can discard that. That's really goofy. The rest of them are pretty centered and clustered all together through the Caribbean. So there's no really discrepancy of the movement here to this part. It's just after this, does it kind of take more of a westerly jog for Mexico, or does it just kind of split the difference, or does it head over a little bit of the islands and back into Florida directly? So that's what's on the questionable side. We won't know the answers to that for probably, I hate to say it, but a couple of days. So maybe by Saturday or Sunday. We should have a better idea. But here is a look at the model spread from the European data. We look at the ensembles. It also keeps its spread tightly confined into this area. In other words, here's the south end, here the north end. Anywhere in between, yeah, you can take the middle round, or you can just assume that, it could go either one. Right now, it's still early in the game. But for right now, we'll use the center approach. And as we head into the period after 6 days, so up toward 10 days, you can see the curvature, whether or not it does hit parts of Mexico and the Cancun region, or whether or not it goes to the east from there, back over the islands. Regardless, it does have that curve back to the northeast. So it ranges anywhere from the southern tip of Florida to, maybe even the panhandle of Florida. And there's some late guys here put in the Gulf of Mexico in this region after 10 days to 11 to 12 days and therefore. So in other words, there's a lot of time to go before we can finally see the whites of its eyes, but I want to give you an idea. At least that's what's happening in the tropics, so that is what we'll be talking about, at least focused on, for a little while. Will it be a substantial hurricane? It's too early to tell. The water temperatures are warm. The upper level pattern seems to be favorable for development. A lot of it depends on the speed, how long it's over the water, if there's any other things that impact it as far as its development goes. It may disrupt it, and all those are unknowns, and they won't be known until we get several more days into this event. So by the end of next week, though, so Thursday, Friday time frame, we'll probably have a landfall. If it does make its way toward the U.S., somewhere on the southeast coast toward Florida, and then, of course, by as early as Tuesday, potentially, around northern tip of Mexico or so. So those are two areas that we'll watch for. So meanwhile, that is the complete update here for your noon on Wednesday. Hope that was helpful. And so I'll be on and off more often now that we got back into fall, so that autumn is just around the corner. It arrives here in just a couple of days. Well, actually, not even a couple of days, really about 36 hours. And then we're going to get some changes around our backyard. So there'll be some more to talk about when it comes to the weather. Make sure you download my free weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It is free. It's on Apple and Google Play. It'll give you your backyard temperatures and your forecast for your location every day of the week for the next 7 days or so. It'll also give you alerts customized to your phone from storms in the area, lightning in the area. The radar map will show you where the lightning strikes are, show you where the storms are. It'll give you arrows for direction. You can click on the arrows to tell you what's in the storm, if it's hail, if it's wind, if it's tornadoes, all that kind of stuff. It does warn you ahead of time if tornadoes were to develop. And we do typically see a mini severe weather season. It's usually in the month of October and can sometimes head into about the first or second week of November. On average, it's about a 6-week window, give or take. Sometimes they can start a little early, like the last week of September. Other times they kind of wait till October to get going. It kind of depends on the upper levels of the pattern of across the globe as to how things change. Right now, it's a little bit of a later, delayed start, so we'll see if it materializes. You do hear talks of El Nino and La Ninas, and yes, those do have an impact. Not overall, complete. There are other things that can happen, but that's the overall picture. And usually, it's a generic, some game of forecasting where, you usually get a little less precipitation, so there's less events to deal with, and maybe the heat lasts a little longer before the, cold kicks in. So you do have all of those indicators, but you can also have just each individual event will stand on its own. It only takes one event, obviously, to cause a ruckus. So we'll keep an eye out for that for you over the next few weeks. That's going to be about it from me. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thanks for supporting AT's Weather and all that you do, for liking, sharing this video, this comment, leaving comments on there, for doing the support on Patreon, Subscribestar, or Facebook fan subscriptions, however you want to do it, PayPal. I do appreciate those donations. They help to fund this whole operation I've got going on here since 2010. So it's been 12 years. Can you believe that? That's crazy. Broadcasting live through social media since 2014. So we're almost going on a 10-year anniversary of that, and that was the early stages of social media. So started doing that. I thought, hey, I'll give this a shot and see what happens, and it turned into something. How about that? So here we are today. All right, well, I'm going to keep doing it, and you guys be careful. Have a good afternoon and a great rest of your week, and we'll talk again soon. Take care.